everybody. Irene Wilkins here, and it's Wednesday. I am in your business. Super excited to chat with you guys today. First, excuse my lighting today. I am not at the office, so the lighting is way different in this moment. But don't worry, I didn't want to miss out on giving you some pertinent information inside of your business. So, for those of you just tuning in, I am the founder of Irene Wilkins LLC. I do all things business, dubbed the Business Solutionist, and I provide solutions to problems inside of your business on a day to day and also the longevity of your business. So, on Wednesdays, we go live a little bit after 1 o'clock, and today's topic of discussion, I just feel like this is a super important topic. A lot of times there is great intent or intentions, I should say, inside of your business, but sometimes you're doing things that are really hurting your business versus bringing, more clients, more clarity, and things of that sort. So because of that, this was one of those topics that we have all seen it. We've all seen it happen inside of businesses. And it's something that if you're a business owner and you want the longevity inside of your business, this is these are some big no-nos. So let's get to it. The topic of discussion for today is 8 specific things that you should never do on your social media. Now, we could be talking about your company's social media, but if you are an individual who is running your business off your own social media, or you interchange between your business page and your personal page, and you talk about business on your personal social media, this for you. I've seen it happen time and time again. So many people downplay this, but you can potentially be scaring away a lot of customers because of the way that you are on your pages. And it's a very hard balance between the two. I completely understand that. There's a hard balance between making sure that you are doing things right, saying the right things, promoting your business and your brand the right way. So some of you may be unaware of what you are actually doing. So, one of the first things that you don't want to do inside of your business on your social media, be it your professional, or again, if you interchange the two, if you talk about your business or you sell off of your personal page, you don't want to share too much information. Have you guys ever seen someone who, like, by day they're this super duper professional, and by night, they've taken on a ratchet persona, or just a whole different person, and you're like, obviously we all have different sides to us, but maybe that is steering people away because you are showing too much or sharing too much. If you are a person who goes through emotional bouts, you some days are super excited about your business, and some days you're on there like, I can't stand some of these people who reach out to me. That is going to steer away people who potentially will work with you. Now, here's the secret, or here's a piece of a secret. There's a lot of people who will agree with you if you write a post and you're like, if you guys are late, you best believe that I'm going to charge you $25 extra late fee, or I'm going to charge you a fee for not canceling. And there's aggression in the tone in which you're speaking. There will be a lot of people who will be like, specifically if you're a woman, girl, you better tell them I wouldn't accept that either. However, those same people, the majority of them who root for you in those say what's on your mind moments are the same people who will get off of social media and say, I can't believe she was talking to people like that. I would not work with her. And so you have to understand that there's a balance. There is a way to articulate your rules and your policies without doing it that way. A lot of times we go to social media for validation. Most people don't want to say that out loud. I'm going to social media to make sure that my thoughts are valid, to make sure that people agree. I'm not the only one thinking like this, am I? So let me find out by the people on my social media page. Now you'll find a lot of people are relatable to you. They agree with you. They are rooting for you. You'll also find a lot of people who are rooting for your downfall. And so when you share too much, you're basically giving any of those people, some of which you have no idea which field they fit in, you're giving people the opportunity to have something against you. And if you're building a brand, not just a business, but if you're building a brand where you want loyalty and longevity inside of your business, this is one thing you want to steer away from. Just pay attention to that. Don't overshare. If you have something you want to share with someone, let it be your trusted confidant or a learning lesson. For instance, if you are having problems with say bookings or people canceling on you, what you want to do is when you create your policy and procedures or when you search up how to prevent these things from happening, share that you've had experiences where you have had people who did not book or who didn't give their deposit, however you look at that, and then say, here's what I did to create a solution. Now you're going to find people who are like, you know what? I could understand how that's frustrating this individual or this business owner, but look how proactive they're being. And you've just turned a negative situation into a positive situation. So pay attention. Now, number two, you guys, what do you not want to share on your social media, your business, or if you interchange the two, personal and business, you talk about them, is getting personal. Getting personal. We have you can go on social media right now and scroll, and you're going to find 100 opinions about one topic. A prime example, which I really don't, we'll just say it's one of the latest things that was talked about. Not one I chimed in on, but the Will Smith incident, right? Will Smith and Chris Rock incident. You were able to see how many people had a split opinion about the matter. It was, all over the internet. And so, in the same regard as with your own thing that you have going on, getting personal on the internet is just a huge no. It's what is your purpose? That's one of the things you want to identify. What's your purpose for using the internet? Are you using it to stay connected with people? We're specifically talking about being in your business. So if you are using social media for your business, then there really is no room to get too personal on there, because all you're doing is confusing potential customers or clients. Also, the ones that you have may start viewing you in a different light because this sweet person that they met while they were having a service with you, or that you were performing a service, or they brought a product from you. Now this person is, just irate and irresponsible and whatever other way they may view you based on the personal stuff you share. I've seen that time and time again where, like I said in the beginning of this video, you may have someone who's a super professional Monday through Friday, and then on the same page that they're talking about, whatever. It could be real estate, it can be, your own product that you've created, whatever it may be. You see them one way Monday through Friday, and then after that, you're like, this is kind of crazy what you're into. Now, we don't want to judge people. That's true. And we don't want to be judged. However, people come up with their own conclusions based off what they see or the little bit that they may know about you. And when it comes to your business, you don't want to wing this part of your business. You want to have a strategy for it. So, if you are going to show your personal side a lot, now, granted, there's people who are like, I love that, So, you might have clients who just love that side of you. Depends what type of business you have, too. A lot of times, if you're dealing with financials or a serious side of business, maybe it's not retail so much, things like that, people are going to look at you in a different light. And that's just a part of life. So if you're getting personal, if you're stating your political views, you're saying things about cultures or races or any of those things, what do you think what is going to happen if someone doesn't agree with you? It's as simple as screenshotting what you put. We've seen it happen. Sending it over to, whoever, whatever organizations you might work with. And then now you're hurting your business because you wanted to get personal. So if you are going to do those things, what you need to have is a private social media account that you don't give everyone access to. That'll help limit the amount of problems when you are getting personal. But even better than that, you guys, one thing that you may want to do is just find some confidants, some fellow entrepreneurs that you build a trust with, and then there. Not saying we all want to work towards not even venting on a regular basis, practicing breathing techniques, practicing if you pray, practicing putting things in prayer, whatever your outlet is. We want to start practicing those things so we don't even have to go to other people with too many of our woes. But if there is like the human interaction that you need, there's nothing wrong with you finding a trusted individual. Trusted, keyword, trusted individual. Just because somebody is an entrepreneur does not mean that you can just pour out your whole soul to them unless you know them really well, because a lot of people can use things against you in the future. Just depends. So be careful of that as well. And then also, you really don't want to mix the personal and the business accounts. So I'm going to tell you why. There's a couple of reasons. One, if you actually read the terms and policies on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, they actually say it's against their terms and policies to have a regular page where you're promoting business. That's actually against their terms. Do they stop people? Probably not. Do a lot of people do it? Absolutely. But that's number one. It's actually against it. So if in the event that something were to happen, they have the capabilities of shutting down your page. And I just like to give people information, whether you do something with it or not, that's completely up to you. But at least you have the information to make a educated decision on the matter. So I always tell people, create a business page for your business. And the great thing about that is Facebook, YouTube, Instagram all have what's called analytics. And analytics allow you to measure how many people are responding to your post or your videos, which ones are getting higher engagement, meaning that more people are responding to it, interacting with it, and which ones aren't. So it's really nice when you set it up that way. If you're using a personal account, you're not able to measure these things. And if you're in the business to win, if you created a business for it to be successful, you want to be able to know what's working and what isn't. When I first started using analytics, I realized all I was posting was quotes, just sayings, quotes, and then like pieces of information. I was barely putting video up. I was barely putting pictures up. And I had low engagement because I had to figure out that people actually like seeing you. People like hearing from you. They want to know if they can trust you. So being able to see pieces of who you are, just seeing, pictures of business people, and that's the only way that you market or the only way that you produce an ad, but yet you're showing like you and your team or things like that. People became really engaged when I started doing that. So I learned to separate the business from the personal, and I learned a little too late, you guys, so hopefully you're not too far in, because what has happened is my personal page is still like a business page. I get tons of inquiries about business solutions, how people can work with me, what's my cost, on my personal page, even now. And so, of course, they see you're online. They're like, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. They're like, hey, Irene, I got this business idea. When can we set an appointment? And that back and forth, while you also have people on your business page reaching out, becomes very confusing. So we're in April. My team and I have made a conscious decision that we are going to turn DMs off, um, by December 31st. Now, that was a hard decision to make, but I started off wrong. I started off mixing the personal accounts with the business accounts, and it became too much to deal with, especially when so many other sides of your business need you. So you can't set up, automated responses on your personal page. There's a lot of things that you can't do that you're missing out on if you're interchanging those two. And then you also may write a post about how, a family member irritated you, a friend. I can't stand when people aren't loyal, da 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 da. And then the next second, you're posting about how people should come to you because you're a loyal person or something that's just going to cause confusion. You want to be careful of that. Another thing that you don't want to do is to criticize other companies. Here's what, you guys ever paid attention to, like, if you buy a new car or a car, it could be used, but if you buy a car, you start to see other cars that are just like yours everywhere. Like they were always there apparently, but you didn't pay attention to it. So now that you have a new car, you start to see all the GMCs because you have one, or however that goes, because now you're paying attention differently because of your experience. So, in the same regard, when you are an entrepreneur, you don't want to just go and criticize companies, because ultimately you wouldn't want that done to your business. When a great example of my own experience is when I was younger, like 18, I didn't understand the importance of tipping when you go to a restaurant, right? So I knew, like, oh, you should tip, but I'm 18 years old, high school, probably actually still in high school. Um, let's use graduation night. We all go to Denny's and everybody just eats their food. Nobody's talking about a tip, right? Because, normally, like, we're going with parents or whatever. So, it wasn't until I started working in the hospitality industry that I realized how important that was. Like, that's a part of the person who's servicing you, their livelihood. Some states only pay like $2 and some cents, and the rest is basically rotated off of tips, or they get a portion taken out of their check just in case they don't make enough tips that it equals like a certain average. And finding those things out was like crazy to me. So then what happened? I became an individual who made sure to tip. I started measuring how I would tip. If it was horrible service, I would still give you a tip. It wouldn't be the tip that I would give great service, but I would sometimes write a note Sometimes I would over tip. I'd have like one meal tip like $40 if I had horrible service a few times. And I wrote a letter like, you never know who's willing to bless you, you know, by treating them kind. And in the service industry, that's part of your job, because as you guys know, client centricity, customer experience is so important to me. So I knew that before I was even an entrepreneur. I knew I just wanted to be treated right, and if I pay for something, I like to have it as asked for. So when you're criticizing other companies, let's take it back to where we were. When you're criticizing other companies, you kind of got to put yourself in that company's position. If you did something wrong in your business, would you want the opportunity to fix it? Or would you want someone to just go to your business page and write a bad review? Would you want them to put it on Yelp or Google? And now that's how people see you based off that one person's experience, because they criticized you instead of giving you the opportunity to write it. Even if it is something that you couldn't fix, at least maybe you could offer them something in exchange, like a discount or a free item or any of those things. So um, that is important. If you're seen as a business owner who criticizes other businesses, what do you think people are going to feel comfortable doing if you do something wrong? Or if they feel like you did something wrong, they're going to think that it's okay to criticize you because that's what you do, right? So it just makes it look bad if that's your first line of handling a situation, is complaining about a company, versus, you know, reaching out to their team, their solutions team, or any of those things, and saying, hey, I'm not satisfied with this service, what can we do to fix it? And you'd be surprised, a lot of companies actually are willing to. And the great thing is, if you have a situation where it's rectified, where it's fixed, you are able to see how important that is inside of your own business. And it'll help you to implement those changes that you need inside of your business. So don't forget that. Another thing that you don't want to do is try to sell products before you're engaging your audience. This is such a huge one, you guys. Like, I've been guilty of this. So many people are guilty of this constantly. You create a product, and the first thing that you do is say, I'm selling, you know, whatever. I'm selling hair bows. I just looked down and seen a hair bow. So I'm selling the little headbands, okay? And I want you guys to buy. Now, why should this is what you need to ask yourself. Why should anyone just buy from you? There might be headbands that are at the dollar store. There might be headbands that you know, look really cute everywhere. Target, wherever. So the question that you have to ask yourself is, why should they buy from me? If I'm not showing them that I'm an expert at headbands or whatever company you have, if I'm not showing them I have high quality, that I find great importance in satisfying my clients or my customers' questions and things like that, you haven't built a you haven't built enough engagement. And that's why a lot of times you'll produce something, a couple of people will buy it, and then you don't hear anything about it, or you stop pushing the product, things like that, because you're trying to sell before it's time. And yes, we all want to make the money. We might not have money as a greed thing, but we all want to create an income inside of our business. But you got to do things the right way in order for that to be a long-standing business. That's super important for you to understand. So try engaging with your audience and building an actual rapport. Find out what their needs are. Maybe you're creating those headbands and you're finding out that people, while they love them, like maybe they don't stay on their head, right? just a crazy example, but maybe you add something to your headbands that's going to keep it more secure, or you know, expand, right? Look at all this hair. So that's a problem for me with headbands. Like, I can't find headbands that fit my hair. So if someone is out there watching this and you are going to sell a headband, engage with your audience and see what their needs are, see what they really need from you, and implement it in your strategy to sell your product. If you have to go back to the drawing board at times, that is okay. It's better to do that than to produce 1,000 pieces of product and it really doesn't serve people the way that you want. And you don't just want to produce headbands, you don't just want to produce retail, you don't just want to produce services, you want to produce quality and value. And that's what sells. That is absolutely what sells in the long run and in the beginning, because people value quality. And you might have clients who value cost efficiency. So it is important for you to figure out who your ideal client avatar is, which is another topic on another day that we'll go over. Um, Stealing content. Woo, woo, woo. Let me bring that back, okay? What you don't want to do is steal content. You know what, I found a great read, and so I'm utilizing a lot of what is said from that great read from socialmediatoday.com. I think it's really important for you to give credit where credit is due. Now, if you, I just spoke about this. So, yesterday I taught my first class at the University of Laverne for 5 steps to a successful business. And I talked about this for a brief moment. Those who are close to me know that this particular situation that happened kind of crushed me. Okay. So, what it was just very briefly, two content creators. One taught the other, and I bought products from both of them, and they both were so similar. So to me, the one who was taught by the other gleaned an uncomfortable amount from the other one. That's what I'll say, from the other one. And as a business owner, one thing that is hard is to be creative. Like, let's just keep that all the way real. When, even if you're a creative, you still have to pull things out of places that you're like, man, I think my brain is exhausted. I don't know if I could create anything else. I don't know if I could create the right words or, the right post. I'm not sure. And you can't always, like, unless you're in technology or certain types of fields, creating innovative, just crazy new solutions, like with Tesla, and the car that could back up on its own and parallel park and all these things. It's very rare to create something that no one else has. And crazy enough, Tesla may have created that, but probably 12, 13 years ago, I knew someone who told me that idea. They were like, it would be great. They worked with building, I don't know if it was engines or cars, but it was like something that obviously had to have been talked about somewhere in the past. And look, here comes, companies coming out with that. So creating something new solely by yourself is very hard to do these days. Now, the thing that you can do is you can create a value based off you as an individual, because there's only one you. So you can bring something to the table that no one else can because it's you who's doing that. But stealing content is such a big no, especially in the social media world. Not giving credit where credit is due. It's one thing to like glean off of blogs, articles, things like that. I love doing that. And I love giving that credit away because, you learn from so many other people. And it doesn't mean that that's a bad thing. But a problem lies when you don't give that credit. And one of the biggest struggles for me as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, is giving things away to people who don't appreciate it and who don't. Not all of us are seeking like credit. Not all of us are wanting like um praises, but there's nothing like feeling like what you have given to someone as value is appreciated. There's a lot of people out here who want to look a certain way, and you don't want to be that type of business owner who wants to look like you came up with this or like you came up with that, and the whole time you have like people behind you who are just feeding you, you know. You can have people who aren't even entrepreneurs who have helped you to create like your business name or your logo or any of those things. And to not give credit, everyone feels different about this, but I'm going to speak how I feel about the situation because I strongly believe in giving people credit. So if someone has helped you build your business, and you don't give them credit, to me, that's selfish. Now, some people don't want the credit, some people don't care if they get the credit, but I'm talking to you specifically out there who may have had help along the way. A lot of times people are like, I did this all by myself. Most of the time, someone was there along the way to help you. Um, whether they listened to your ideas, whether they gave some input as advice, whether you said, hey, do you think this is a good idea? And they're like, no, maybe you should switch it up like this. Why not give them the credit? Why not? Why not say, thank you, so and so, for helping me figure out a problem, for helping me solve a problem inside of my business? Maybe you don't have to give all the details, but for a person like me who feels very adamant about pouring into people, what can happen and what happened to me is that I stopped wanting to do that so much. Now, that's okay because you should be getting paid for what you, there's a balance. You give things free, you give things freely, which is why I do my lives pretty much faithfully every Wednesday to offer this type of knowledge for you to implement inside of your business. We give away freebies, workbooks. We give away a lot of stuff, and I'm okay with that balance. Now I get it. You know what I mean? But before, it was just pouring in, and then a lot of times you'll give someone like a almost $1 million idea, if you will, and they will talk about it, and they're like, "Yeah, I came up with this." That's almost a slap in the face, you guys. When someone is like a true supporter of you, they help you with something and you mask it as it was your own idea. um you really, if that is you as a person, like, I also believe in being honest so that you can grow. So if you find yourself being that type of person, I want you to dig deep to see what type of, I want you to dig deep to see what type, why you're like that. You know what I mean? Why do you feel like you have to take credit for everything inside of your business? Or where does that come from? Is it because you maybe felt like your opinion didn't matter when you were older or when you were younger? And so now you're like, well, I'm going to say everything is on me. I'm a one man or a one woman show. These are questions that you want to ask yourself, because eventually what will happen is what has happened to a few people that I've dealt with over the last couple years, is that they no longer can get free things from me. If they would have shown their appreciation and valued it, then I probably still would pour into them. But because they didn't, if they want something, they would have to watch my lives. They would have to buy a product. They would have to do those things. That extra that that I gave to them um, is no longer applicable for them. And the same thing for you guys. I want you guys to understand that you should not continue to pour into people who don't appreciate it. Went off a little bit on a tangent. Excuse me. But the principle behind it is, don't take what isn't yours. And if you are going to use it, just like when we were in school, if you took a quote or a snippet of an article or a book, you had to reference it at the end to give credit to the author. So for you guys out there, if there's content that you appreciate, an idea from someone that is inspiring, just say that. That's okay. Just say that. It doesn't, people will find, I don't know, maybe it's a thing where people are scared that someone will go work with that person if they give them credit. I don't know. Most people aren't like that. Most people value someone who appreciates other people in their life. Um, Another mistake, hey, I think this is one of my things, is sometimes going off topic, right? So if you're on social media and you're running your business and you're basically talking about a certain thing, you don't really want to go off topic about those things. Try to stay on topic, make sure it's relevant, make sure um excellent, Keisha is right. It's right there for you. Yeah, you guys, I had an event. There's a entrepreneur mind your business workbook that we created, and I talked to a handful of the people who were at the event, and they said they're actively working in their workbook. I had someone inspired give me a call, inspired to one of my friends inspired to make her own for her workshops and things like that. That is the key example right there. She called me to tell me how much she loved the workbooks, how she's working in hers, and how it inspired her to help her audience by creating some herself. Now, that's all sometimes people want. She probably felt like, hey, I want to tell her this just because it was an inspiration. And Keisha, I will send you the link. So she is one of those individuals. I'm the same way with her, to where I don't, if I glean from someone, that's what I call it. If I'm like, oh, I love that quote um from you, I'm going to start using that. There's another person, we've done business together. She's now a consulting client. And I remember her telling me, um, I said, knowledge is power. And she was like, even better than that, applied knowledge is power. And that's how her husband and her use that term. And I was like, wow, that's powerful. I'm telling you right now, if it's all right with you, like, I am going to use that for the rest of my life. And yes, if you've ever watched things that I've said or videos that I do, I strongly say that because it was more detailed than what I was using. It isn't just knowledge. We can have a lot of knowledge, but it's applied knowledge. But I gave that credit to her. And so just remember that. Just remember how important that is for individuals when you give credit where credit is due. So, other things that you don't want to do. Oh my goodness, guys, don't ever, ever, ever. I know it's hard. Don't argue with people on social media. Don't argue with them. There's no, listen, there is a lot of keyboard warriors out there, okay? A lot. And we live in a time where we've already seen how social media can turn deadly. Deadly. People finding people, running them over, killing them, shooting them, craziness for arguing on social media. This is your business. There's no need to argue with anyone. It's as simple as any if someone's trying to argue with you on there, it takes two to argue. Let's admit that first. But one thing that you can say is, any complaints or whatever, direct it to this email. Please email such as, whatever your professional email is, and we will respond to you in 24 to 48 hours. Excuse me, guys. You don't need to argue with anyone to um to prove a point. If someone's not willing to listen to you, or if they feel very wronged in what you have done for them, that's okay. Like, I know it doesn't feel good, and trust me, there's nothing like the separation because of a misunderstanding, a disagreement, any of those things. But for you, you shouldn't be arguing with anyone about that. There's no purpose. All it does is I've had this conversation with loved ones. People love drama, okay? They absolutely love drama. There are people who will, Keisha, I was pulling up this workbook for you. So I'm going to send it, I'm going to put it in here right now. Okay, so you can click on this, Keisha, and it should take you right to the buy now. So I know I hear you, Keisha. Keisha said it's only so much she can take right now. One, when we are going through things, like all of us have whole lives, we have whole loved ones, we have stress, death, life, hurt, love, all these different things that we're going through. So when you feel attacked, an argument can feel like a form of attack. Sometimes it is an actual attack. And so we want to defend ourselves. You guys, the people close to me know what my pet peeves are. And most of us have pet peeves of like feeling like our character is being assassinated, having good intentions and someone doesn't see those. It's very hard to navigate through that at times. But when it comes to your business, think about it as you would. Sometimes you got to interchange your thought process from an employee, not very often, but this is a good one. If you were at work, you would think about, if I'm arguing with this customer or this client, think of less McDonald's jobs. And I'm not dissing McDonald's, but what I'm saying is people treat fast food places like those people aren't as valuable, and that's not okay. But you find more incidences happening in places like that, maybe because of the cost of value of the food, than we could say a restaurant. We could say even In and Out. But you guys notice the people at In and Out, if you've ever gone there, Chick-fil-A, certain places where they pay their employees $18 an hour to start, coming in high school, being hired there. The manager makes like $160,000, just crazy, but it's genius. It's it's something that you won't see there. If you're not satisfied with your stuff, they don't argue with you. They're not like, well, on the receipt it said you asked for this. They don't do that. They just replace it immediately, help you to be satisfied, and so you can go about your way. So in your business, okay, but if you worked as, say, a realty company, or um, a gas and oil, they might be. Sometimes I've heard some crazy stories about places like that. They're more blunt a lot of times, but let's just say you worked at a high-end place, okay? And someone came in acting crazy. You're probably going to think from the perspective of, man, I can't talk back crazy to them because I could lose this job. Maybe it's the beginning stage of your job. You're on a probation. That's how you need to look at your business. You may lose so many more people than that one person that you're arguing with. That person, especially if they're not a client, why would you argue at all? You shouldn't argue at all, but it's like they're not even buying anything from you. So having a lengthy conversation about a disagreement makes no sense. But even if they are a client and you find yourself ready to argue, understand that there is a ton of people watching your interaction. And I have had conversations with people that I care about deeply. There are some people just loving the drama in your life, loving it. They mask themselves as supporters, as friends. But let me tell you something, when someone genuinely supports you, they do not want to see you going through hardships. They do not want to see you pop off on at people. And you'll know that there's key words that people will say when they're used to or they love, the drama in you and the things that you go through. They'll say things like, "What's happening now? What happened now?" That's like one thing. Now they may say it in different ways, right? Some people are fed up with the drama and they're like, "What happened now?" And then some people are like, "Ooh," like they get excited about it. "What happened now?" And they want to rile you up. Girl, don't take that. "Oh, you gonna let him talk to you like that, G?" Like, it's just different ways that people go about it. Oh, I'm so glad this message was for you today, Keisha, because I completely understand. So then you got to pay attention to those people. I have a friend, who is phenomenal. We've had this talk. I've had several friends, but this particular one, like I want to see her win in life so very bad. She is so deserving. She is so giving, super supportive. And every time she goes live, like the vultures of drama come out and they're like, what's happening now, sis?" No, don't call me sis if she can't go to you in private and be like, "Hey, I need, I'm going through something. Talk me through this. Give me encouragement. Give me scriptures. Pray for me." Like those type of things. And people are just like, "Oh, I want to know." And you see an excitement inside of them. You better watch it. You better watch it, because those people do not want to see you win. I don't care what they say. Nobody gets excited about your L's. And an L can be when you are so emotional about a person that you step out of character. That technically is an L. And trust me, I've taken a lot of L's in certain ways. Or I feel like maybe you're not responding to the individual and you feel like you're taking an L because if it wasn't for, say, the Most High, you would be the right one. You know what I mean? Like, that's a hard place to be. I've had that conversation a few times with some close ones. Like, you guys got to be, the people who test you, sometimes they got to be thankful for who you serve, because it's very easy to argue. It's very easy to take it to the next level. What's not easy is being poised. And the best businesses are the ones who are led by people who can control their emotions. And if you're having a struggle controlling your emotions, the only thing that's missing is applied knowledge. That's it. It's applied knowledge. There's things that you already know now that you can apply, but maybe you need reminders. Maybe you need to read something that's going to help you. Maybe you need to surround yourself with individuals who are better equipped at helping you bring out the best, not the worst in yourself. So arguing is a no. It's a no. It's a no inside of your business. Don't argue. Sometimes you got to block people. Do what you got to do. When I first started my YouTube page, I think YouTube has the most that I've seen. YouTube people go ham. Like, they will say any and everything. I remember one of the first videos that I did. This guy was like, "I can't stand people who go live from their room or something." And mind you, there was growth. Like, I decided at first it irritated me a bit. Because I was like, he doesn't know me. But that's just a vulnerable moment that I'm having with you guys. But then I was like, Let's think deeper. Maybe he feels that way because he has to work from an office, or he has to give his time to an employer. Maybe he feels that way because he's just going through something and he's nitpicking at whoever he'd like to. It was far in my video, so I'm like, oh, excellent, Keisha. Thank you so much. So I was like, okay, well, maybe there's just so many maybes that we can look at in saying like why a person is the way they are. So when people are arguing with you, they don't really know you. Don't try not to take it as personal as we tend to, because those people they may be going through something. And you guys know why I can come out of negative feelings so quickly these days, like for years now, because I choose to try to understand why people are the way they are. It makes me have more patience. It makes me want to pray for them more, because I'm like, you need it. Matter of fact, I'm going to pray for you, and I'm going to pray that you learn to pray for me as well. And so then it just eliminates all this, like, why are they like this? And da 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 da. They're like that for a reason. You don't need to know the deepest parts of why they're like that. You just need to understand that they are. A lot of times it stemmed from childhood. A lot of times it stemmed from hurt. People are only mean when they're hurt, okay? When you're happy in life, like you just want to do better, treat people better, you want to show love. So you got to remember that and not argue with these individuals, because it can make your business look bad. And a lot of people will fester, will soak up that drama, but then they won't want to work with you because they're like, yeah, this person is full of drama, I'm not gonna work with them. So be leery of that. Talk to whoever you need to talk to. Don't feed in to the negativity. There's no purpose for it. It serves no purpose in your life. So to cap, we talked about 8 different things that you don't want to do on your social media, primarily business. But if it's a personal and you interchange your business information and posts that you share, don't do that. But let's summarize some key points. Never, never, ever put negative posts about customers or clients. Never do that. Try not to post irrelevant. I'm going to go through some of the things that we talked about, but really briefly. Try not to post irrelevant viral videos as well, like the Will Smith thing. We talked about that. Do you want to talk about business, or do you want to talk about other people's lives? And I mean that in a humble way. I don't mean that in a way to be rude. But the truth of the matter is, a lot of times when we go over viral stuff, it really has nothing, and we're sharing it. And it's just, you guys ever been on somebody's page where every post is like a meme or a viral thing? And it's like, what relevancy, if it's your business, what relevancy does that have to your business? The whole Will Smith stuff, you guys, the whole, whenever people are like engrossed in, celebrities and things like that, what does it do for your life? That's what I want you to, because a lot of times we'll spend time in other people's lives, their riches, their whatever. And the whole time your life is needing to be watered. It needs to be watered. When's the last time you may have been able to financially take your family on vacation? But yet we may be engrossed in the Smiths, the Jada Pinkett, Will Smith's lifestyle, where they might have a fight, but they're not going anywhere. They might have went on vacation right after that to, St. Martin on a yacht, and we're worried about what their life is going through when it has no relevancy to what you are doing and what you're trying to accomplish. So don't worry about viral posts. Don't just, try to stay away from those things. Political, religious views, we all know that's not, you're always going to get something with it. You post those things on your business page, you're always going to lose somebody. It's always going to be an issue. Um, proofread your content, you guys. Don't just throw something out there. When I make a grammatical error, like, I cannot stand it. I can't stand it. I don't spell people's names wrong. If you have to ask them, like, if you're tagging a person, well, I won't say tagging, but if you're writing about a client experience, spell their name right. Nobody likes their name spelled wrong. It's like, I spent this money with you and you aren't even going to get my name right. Really. So you don't want to do that. Don't, oh gosh, please don't capitalize on tragedies. Don't do it. Don't, when people, I'm, when people were like, oh, I'm going to start, I'm not even going to go there, okay? Just understand that tragedies are meant to be prayed for, the people who are hurting for those tragedies. Don't be selling shirts or selling certain things from someone else's tragedy to make money, because it's widely talked about. That is that is not um that is not a moral thing, and it's not cool. And nobody who's experiencing the tragedy is going to want that displayed like that. So be very careful when you're doing things like that. Granted, if you do retail, I understand. It's like, okay, well, this is what's going on, but respect what other people are going through, because trust and believe, in this lifetime, you are going to go through heartache. You don't know when, you don't know how, but you wouldn't want someone to capitalize on your heartache and the tragedy that you and your loved ones may be suffering from. So don't do it to someone else. Um, don't over promote. Like, I know there's this thing where it's like, you can never promote yourself too much. Yes, you can, if your strategy is not correct. You can post every day about your business, but you have to have a strategy. You could one day talk about how you've gained knowledge inside of your business. You could uh, do a sell one day. You can do a testimonial another day. But to post the same thing over and over 365 days out of the year saying, buy my product, that's not going to get you people buying 365 days a year. Guaranteed, you have to have a strategy with it. And part of that strategy is building awareness to a problem and building trust. That's a huge part of your strategy. So if you're not doing that now, trust me, you're going to want to research and get a little bit deeper into that so that you can really sell what you're trying to sell. Misleading post. Don't tell people, sign up for this and um, I'll, sign up for this and we'll pay you $10, and you don't plan on paying that person $10. Don't do it. Don't mislead people, because they won't get anything from you ever again. If you do, be honest in word and deed, and guaranteed that will make you go further inside of your business. And so I hope that these points helped you guys. I wanted to talk about this today because I am continuously seeing potentially great business owners fall into the emotional side of social media, expressing themselves aggressively, having people agree, but then not realizing statistically how much this hurts their business. No one is really going to tell you, like, girl, don't be venting on here, unless they truly know you and care about you. I would try to do it, but I also know how people operate. So that's why I do lives like this. I don't have to speak to one specific person. Whoever hears the information and wants to apply it, great. This was of no cost to anyone watching it. Even myself, the only thing that it cost you was time. And it wasn't bad time that it cost you to learn some new things or reminders that you may have. Keisha, I'm so glad it helped you. It's something that helps me. I never share with you guys anything that have not either applied or am actively applying or told someone else to apply. So it's never just words just to speak words. These are all things um, that will grow your business, not just your business, but will help you to grow as a professional. And then when your professionalism grows, guess what else is growing? You as a person. So now imagine not posting things that you shouldn't on your business page. What'll probably happen? You start to see how positive your business grows because of that. And you're like, maybe I shouldn't do that on my personal page as well. Hopefully that is what's happening. Because you have trips to take, you have family vacations to go on, you have shopping to do, you have houses to buy, you have cars to get, you have all these things, you have love to be had, you have so many other things that you could do besides the negative sides of life. um Oh, I'm glad. Thank you, Melvin. I appreciate it. And then Keisha, look, we all fall off. We all uh get busy. Keisha, because I know what you're going through, don't feel like you've fallen off. That those are the wrong words. You've had to take a needed break due to what experiences you've had, and I'm so sorry for what you have gone through. You had to take a break. We never, I said that in my class last night. We don't apologize um for certain things. And one thing you should never apologize for is the need for your mental health. We've seen athletes, gymnasts and tennis players and all these people who have finally realized how important mental health is. See, I don't know if you guys remember, I can't think of her name, but the one gymnast, when I was younger, I used to watch that like all the time, skating, figure skating, gymnastics, outside of the Olympics. Like that was my thing. And so I remember when she I don't know if she sprained her ankle or broke it, but they forced her to continue competing. Now, do you know what that does to a person's mental when you're just done, both physically and mentally, and you push past your limit? It's a horrible place to be. Any of you guys ever worked past hours? It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. You've been working since 8 o'clock to 1 o'clock in the morning. Whether you realize it or not, your brain has already shut down. And I know sometimes we could be pushing ourselves like, no, I still got it in me. No, your brain is officially like, your brain is not as effective once you've used it for that long without, resting it. It's just not. And I've learned that the hard way this year because I'm like, man, why can't I get this paragraph done? And I'm still trying to think, and my brain literally feels hot. It's like, stop working. Let me go to sleep. Let me rest. So for you guys, if there's a rest that you need, take some time off. You won't lose in your business. The only way you'll lose if you don't learn lessons. That's it. The two ways. If you don't learn the lessons, okay, my bad. Three ways. If you don't learn the lessons, if you don't apply the knowledge, and if you quit. Those are the only ways you won't succeed. There's no cap, there's no time frame. You can be working on yourself till the day of your last breath. We all should be. You can be working on your business until it becomes exactly what you want it to be. There's nothing wrong with taking those breaks or setting up your business in such a way that it begins to run itself. So there's strategy to all of this. I don't want you guys to be those type of business owners who you're working in your business as if you were an employee. You're working 60, 70 hours in your business. That's not okay. Maybe in the beginning we've trained ourselves to thinking that's okay inside of our business, but eventually the more knowledge you attain as an entrepreneur, you realize The people who are successful aren't sitting at a desk 60 hours, aren't, in their bed like, oh my gosh, I'm going to spend the next 5 hours, even though I'm supposed to be cuddled up with my honey, or, watching a movie with the kids, or whatever it is. Those individuals have learned what it takes to um, let their business run like a well-oiled train versus, it running them. So you guys will get that point, but don't ever apologize for taking the necessary time away from your business to mourn, or to focus on your health, or any of those things. You just want to balance it out. If you were used to working in your business 5 days a week, something major happened in your life, and you're at the point where you're like, I know I need to get back at it, I don't want to lose momentum, then start back at 1 day a week, 2 days a week, 3 hours a day. Create a solid schedule that's reasonable, just to get that umph back in. So you can do that. We all can do it. Trust me. You're doing way better. You're doing much better. It took me 12, 13 years to understand to stop doing it partially. Now, I went through a lot in those years. So much grief, so much pain, so many things did I go through in this journey of going from a hobbyist, treating my business like a hobby, to treating it as a business or self-employed person, to treating it as a business owner, to becoming an entrepreneur. It took many years to do that. Videos like this, I did not know where to find them. I didn't know where to get advice. It was out there, obviously. Like, I could have went to Barnes and Nobles and got more books about it. I just didn't have that mindset yet. And so now, if you want to know why it's so important for me to show up every Wednesday, even if, somehow I'm 5 minutes late, sometimes my brain is like, oh, you're 5 minutes late, Irene. Like, you're not supposed to be late going on live. Should you do this? But then look what happens. You touch one person's life, you help one person's day. And I'm like, this is what it's about. This is what it's about. So for you guys, as long as you don't quit inside of your business, this is what it's about. As long as if you're on social media, make one positive post a week. One. That's all I'm asking for you to attempt to do. Make one positive post. Guarantee, whether you get a like or not, somebody read that and it resonated with them and it helped them in some type of way. We don't do it for the likes. It's nice to know if people relate to you and things like that, but you do it for the purpose. We do it for the purpose. So Keisha, when you and others like you, myself, when we're going through something, we just got to remind ourselves of our purpose, and then it all makes sense again. So I know you'll be back out there. Matter of fact, it's so crazy. I seen a motorized bike. It was dope. Okay. It was white. Keisha and her husband, they do motorized bicycles. She does a whole bunch of nonprofit feeding the homeless. Super dope woman. Okay. And this bike, it was 2 days ago. It was clean. It was motorized. It was all white. And it made me think of you. So I'm so glad you were on this live. Um, but yeah, I hope that this helped you guys. If you don't find relevancy in it, share it with someone else. Like, sharing really is caring. There's somebody out there that needs to hear this information. There's somebody out there losing a ton of potential clients or customers because they keep going ham on social media, because they can't control their emotions, or because they're sharing things that have no relevancy to their business. And because of that, they don't have a strategy. They want to grow, but they don't know how, and they're doing it the wrong way. And because people are liking it, I see more likes on posts where people are like, basically, if you don't I see this a lot with service businesses. Like, if people do eyelashes, nails, hair, any of those things, I see a lot of times they're like, if you miss the booking, don't ask me for your deposit back. And it's like this attitude. And I always wonder why. That's my question. Like, why? Now I know through my intellect that the usual why is because, they've booked an appointment, somebody didn't come, they didn't pay, they said they were going to come, they lost that time, they could have went to someone else who wanted to book. I understand that frustration. But my question is, why do you feel like that aggression is going to bring more business to you? That's what I really, because if we put ourselves in the position of our potential clients, would you want to work with someone who is highly aggressive? Because what if something happens between the two of you? It would only make sense to think like, okay, they're going to respond super negatively to me. And it's one thing that I've learned as a business owner into figuring out what clients I want is I also, which you should too, as a business owner, you need to pay attention to if you have potential clients, someone reaches out to you and wants to be a client of yours, do yourself, do me a favor too, so we can both not have to worry about, you know, stresses for you. Look on their page. Employers nowadays look at potential employees' pages to see how they operate, stuff like that. So if it's a potential client, look at what they got going on their social media if you guys are mutual friends, because a lot of times you'll see who's difficult and you can save yourself a lot of heartache by seeing how they operate and being like, okay, this person is always complaining about, this, or this person is super rude to people. Do I really want to make them a client? And then you start to navigate through the right people and the wrong people. And I say this, and I mean this with every piece of my being. You, as a business owner, have a right to choose who you want as a client. You have every right. And no, the client, the customer is not always right. You should always be professional, but they're not always right. So you're allowed to fire people. Finish the job first. Don't ever quit on a job. Don't do that to yourself. Don't quit. Finish the job with poise, with respect, with dignity, and then you can always be busy moving forward, because you're too busy for the drama. You're too busy for the negativity. Hey, what's up, Jessica? Um, you're too busy for all of that stuff. So yeah, you are too busy to work with people like that on a regular basis, but at least finish the job, do it remarkably. So there is no, if they do say something, guess what? It's, it is what it is. They're a dissatisfied person. I had one time where I did a phenomenal resume for someone. They didn't want to pay for it, so they spoke very negatively about it. It was the first time I ever had a complaint. First time in years and years and years. And I was so distraught about it because client service, customer centricity is the foundation of what I do. It's what I teach. It's words that people don't even realize how important they are in your business. But if you don't know what centricity means, when you get off of this live, look it up, learn it, live it. Your business guaranteed you'll be successful if you implement it. But it crushed me. I'll just keep it all the way real. It crushed me. I couldn't understand. They did end up getting a phenomenal free resume and cover letter from me. But it taught me something. It taught me that there at times are red flags with the people who you think about as a client. And so that's why you can use social media to navigate through, just like they can navigate through your social media, like we talked about today, to see how you operate. You have every right to do the exact same thing, every single right to be like, you know what, this person is going to be very difficult. I'm going to say no to this job. And I know that's hard because we want the money, right? We're like, I want to do a good job, pay me for it. But what you'll learn is that all money, and most of you guys probably already learned that all money is not good money. All is not good money. Some money, you, now that I know better, you can't tell me that $250 is worth my peace, my lack of sleep, my worry that you're never going to be satisfied with me putting hours and hours into the services, the solutions that I provide. 250, you can't pay me. No. $500, no. Now, who doesn't want $500 in their pocket? I don't know too many people, but when you start to value who you are, your time, your expertise, you guys, this year alone, I spent, I don't know, probably $6,000-7,000 on trainings, right? Intentionally. Now, this is the most I've ever spent on trainings inside of my business. Do I feel like they all were valuable? Yes. Even the one that I spent $1,000 on and I did not finish, I didn't finish it for the principal. If you watch earlier, you'll find out why. But I learned something from that as well. I learned how I don't want to do things. And so there was value in that, because guess what? Right after that, did I get enough jobs to equal, that payment that I made to them? Absolutely. So invest, you know what I mean? Invest in what you've got going on inside of your business. Money comes and goes. A bit of advice that I learned, if you guys have ever read Poor Dad, Rich Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, it's one of the easiest reads to understand fundamentals inside of a poor mindset and a rich mindset. It's a great read. It's a bestseller. It's a quick book to read. So I would highly recommend it if you are trying to do something different in your business. But I watched an interview with him, and one of the things he said is there's a difference between um, a poor mindset. Poor mindset doesn't necessarily mean like you're broke. It means that the way you think is from a broke perspective, or like just certain ways. I won't go too deep off into that. But what he did say is one of the huge differences between financially successful people and those who aren't is the way that they think when it comes to investing in themselves. So the financially successful people, when it comes to spending money inside of their business, what they say is, or the ones with the poor mindset, what they say is, I got to save. How am I going to come up with this money? Like, I don't, or not, how am I going to come up with it? But I can't afford it. And I used to be like that as well. I can't afford to spend $1,500 on a training. Like, no, because at the time I didn't have $1,500 to spend on the training at all. So it's like, why would I think about even doing that? So I understand that. But when I started shifting my mindset into my own capabilities, and knowing that like I can do this, if I could go through some of the things that I went through in life, you dang right, I could become a successful person. You know what? I sure can. Like, why was I not seeing that truth so long ago, right? So we start to have that mindset. But he said the um the ones who have financial success, the way that they think, if they don't have it, they say, let me create a plan to get it. What do I need to do to get it? And it was like the simplest concept. I had already started shifting my thinking, but it wasn't until after I heard those words from him where I started investing in coaches. I was like, he's like a coach. And, I read his books. You guys, I have a plethora of books. Well, I won't say a plethora, but I have a ton of books up here in my house. I have books in my office. And books, like if you are a business owner and you're not reading books, you're selling yourself short. You're selling yourself short, because you can have a mentor for $14.99. You can have a guru on your side for $32. Like, It's crazy. Sometimes it's free depending on where you could get it at. The Audible books, you get a 30-day free subscription if you never subscribed to it. Do you know how many audiobooks you can read in 30 days? Most of them are between 6 and 8 hours, right? So just break that down. 6 hours, you could be the weekend at the park with the kids, spend an hour playing with them, listening partly in your ear. You'll still soak up stuff that you wouldn't have if you didn't put it in your ear at all. So I'm just saying that there's so much information out there, but once I changed my mindset, spending it now, it's more of like a fun challenge. Okay, there's a new training coming up with my favorite coach. um she's got a program. It costs 2,500. I got 3 months to chip her off 2,500, or she has a payment plan. I'm going to make that happen. Why? Because she's already changed my life inside of my business. So why wouldn't I? So those might, like, when it comes to your potential clients, that might be a whole nother thing that's missing, is that you're appealing to the wrong audience. You're appealing to people who don't find value, who don't find worth in what you do. That's okay. But there's someone who does. One of my favorite tax clients, just to be honest, this last year he paid $2,000 for taxes. And I don't usually talk about money, but sometimes I do, because I'm not a money driven person. I think that's why it took me a long time to get to where I am, because I'm not, everyone has their own version of how they view money. I personally know that it comes and goes. I know that I'd rather spend money traveling with my family than anything else in this world, like spending money on. I don't have to have lavish attire, none of that stuff. But if my kids can go to Thailand and go to the beach, um and have a family vacay and try some new food and see new culture, like, I'll spend money on those are my goals. You know what I mean? So um for you guys out there, like, you got to think about those type of things. But honestly, if you're a business owner right now and you don't read as a habit, um that might be where you're set back at, just to be all the way honest. Because what you're doing potentially, excuse me, is that you're going to Google for all the information, and Google is a great resource, but it doesn't mean that you can find exactly what you need. Whereas you can type in at Barnes and Nobles, Amazon, how to start a business, and you're going to find reviews, you're going to find all these things that tell you where to be directed. And if right now you spend money on clothing, you spend money on drinks, you spend money on a good time, and you can't find, $20 to spend on educating yourself to become a successful business owner, you got to shift your thinking for sure. And once you do that, the sky's the limit. I know some of you guys have seen the start. You know what I mean? I know some of you guys even saw me 2 years ago, and the shift, and now what's in fruition. You guys, we are partnered up with one of the biggest business helping um, organizations between the Bay and LA. They service clients all the way through there. We are partnered up double time with them. We have clients who work with us in different facets. All of these things through hard work, but through purposeful work. Trust me, I know it's not easy, but it's like you got to pick your heart. What do you want to struggle? You want to struggle and always feel like, I want to give my family this, or I want this for myself. I can't go treat myself the way that I want to because I'm limited? Or do you choose to take the limit off your mind and be like, what do I need to do to get there? And sometimes it's just educating yourself. Money is important, but the money will come. You can build your client base just by building trust on social media. You can post once a day a solution to a problem, and before you know it, you won't even have to really, they'll people will just come to you and be like, do you, whatever you're creating a solution for, they're going to be like, do you do this? And if it's up your alley, you're going to be like, I do. Well, can I meet with you to talk about these things? And now you're building your client base, and it's all based off your knowledge. So gain more knowledge if you want more clients. So I am done talking your guys' ear off. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys every time. Never will I not be humble about the fact that you guys find value in the things that I share with you. I want you to win. I want you to win. And because I want you to win, I'm not going to stop offering these things. And for those of you who live locally, if you can afford to coach, and you're looking for a coach and you want to coach with me, reach out to me. If you are worried about your finances and you want to coach with me, right now my partnership is super dope. I work with the Kern Women's Business Center. They um, you can register with them, and then you can request me as a coach, and they actually pay me to coach with you. We have 13 clients with them right now. We have a little more room. By the time we get to 20, we got to stop because it's over our limit, right? There's still things that we're building in this business that I cannot wait to let you guys know once they are ready. So you guys, stay focused, stay intentional, stay purposeful, and you will go far. Thank you for tuning in. And as I always say, let's get it.